Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine. O my Guru, gracious, I owe my all to you. Wishing you all a very good morning. We all have different ways or paths to follow in completing any task in our life, right? Either being it as a plan to reach a new place, or planning about some our own personal life goals, and even up to the spiritual path. Whatever be the task, we all have a different ways to follow, right? So as like that, today we will be spending our thoughts on the way to wisdom. What should be the ideal way to reach the wisdom? Before start talking about the ways, let us try to understand about wisdom first, right? Because the word wisdom denotes to us different meanings and different point of views. And just to have a common point of view, we will spend some time to talk some facts on the wisdom. When we say the word wisdom, it literally means something. But if we approach the same word philosophically or spiritually, it may give some other insight to us, right? So it all started like a casual chat when we had in home a few weeks ago about wisdom teeth. Why is it called as wisdom teeth? This third set of molar teeth, which will start erupting to most of the human being at the age of 18 to 25 years. So this is what the science is also proving. So that is called as wisdom teeth. So just we were having a thought process, why not it termed as, because it comes after achieving some kind of maturity in the life. Every person will start getting this, right? So why not it is called as knowledge teeth or maturity teeth? Why the term wisdom is used? So that is where this topic came within me as a thought, continued to reach up to the term wisdom. So we all have a different kind of point of view also, as I mentioned earlier. It is like structurally putting all those together. So this is what someone has interpreted about wisdom. So the data, information, knowledge, wisdom. These are all on the series of information processing, which is happening within us. So any data reaching to us will be seen as an information, and that will be understood properly so that it is stored as a knowledge within us. So justifying that and developing a belief system using that knowledge, and then we will be reaching to a judgmental stage, right? So by understanding the values of knowledge, we will be reaching up to the level of wisdom. So this is one way of interpreting how we will reach to the wisdom state. And coming to the literal meaning of wisdom. So this is defined as a deep understanding, insight, and sound judgment gained through knowledge, experience, and reflection. So this is the literal meaning of wisdom. some more thoughts on wisdom, because most of us will be having some kind of confusion, or normally, mostly in generic manner, if you see in the literature, wisdom and knowledge is getting interpreted or mixed up in most of the places, right? So some of the facts or quotes which are showing the differences between knowledge and wisdom. So the knowledge is knowing what to say, wisdom is knowing when to say it. This is one way of interpretation. And to acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. So the knowledge comes from learning and wisdom comes from living. So these are again some different ways of interpreting between them. And just thought of sharing this table also, which was made by a blogger, putting up all the differences in a table format about knowledge and wisdom. So in this, the interesting point is the last one, which is talking about the knowledge is related with mind and wisdom is related with mind and soul. So this kind of difference between them. And another interesting graphic image, which I thought of sharing in this point of time. So which shows a clear differentiation between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is one of the component only within us, right? So it adds with experience to produce a result, competence. Like knowledge and experience being together is producing a competence quality within us. And knowledge, when it joins with humility, it produces honor for us. And the experience joins with humility produces empathy. So how to get wisdom? The knowledge, experience, and humility all have to be combined, and that only can produce wisdom. So this is another way of seeing how to reach to the wisdom, what exactly we are talking about in today's topic. And some more thoughts on wisdom. Here I want to share a story. A long back, there was a farmer who is having a lot of problems in his day-to-day life. When he was talking about this to one of his friends, so that friend has suggested him to go to a saint who is living in a faraway village, another place. So that saint will solve his problems. That is what suggested by the friend. Then the farmer decided, okay, he will visit because he wants to come out of all the problems in his life, right? So he visited to that village and he met the sage. Then the sage asked, okay, what you came for? Then the farmer started sharing his problems. Yeah, I'm a farmer. I love my job, but there are a lot of problems in it because some years there will be no rain. So we'll be finding a lot of difficulty in doing farming. And contradictorily, in some other years, there will be heavy rain. So the flood will spoil everything and we will not be able to do our proper job also. And he didn't stop there. The farmer continued sharing all his problem. He started mentioning that I'm living with my family, my wife and kids. Yeah, I love my wife, but every alternate day we will have some kind of arguments, fightings, which may cross the limit in some occasions. So which is a big trouble for me. And about kids, yeah, they are great kids and I love them. But many of the times they will start misbehaving, which you may not believe also. So he didn't stop there even. He continued sharing about his further problems. He started mentioning about his in-laws and some money problem, some issues with the friends. And the recent period, he couldn't sleep at all because of all these problems. When he's lying down on the bed, all these are coming into him and bothering him and not allowing him to sleep. So he couldn't sleep at all. And he started having some pain here and there in his body. So all this, he started continuing. And he mentioned at the end, I want to get rid of all these problems. So I came to you for the solution. Then the sage replied to him, patiently listening all his problems. He said, sorry, I can't help you. I cannot solve your problems. Then the farmer was surprised because he heard a lot about him through a friend, and he came all the way believing that he will be able to find a proper solution. And after sharing all this, when he heard back, the sage will not help. He was disappointed and got a bit of angry also. And then he expressed his feeling. So I heard a lot about you. Then I'm very much disappointed to hear that. So what is the point of teaching all these facts to others when you cannot solve all my problems? Then the sage again started talking to him, telling that, see, every person having 83 problems in their life. If you try to solve one or other problem by doing this or that, so that problem may get moved away, but it will be replaced by another problem. So that is the reason I'm telling you, I cannot help you to solve all your problems. And moreover, it's going to be very complex because when you become aged, the problems will be further more in your life, and you will not be able to solve all of those. So that is the reason I'm telling you, I cannot help you. Then again, the farmer got upset and he was about to leave. That time, the sage mentioned to the farmer again, but I can do one help for you. I can help you with the 84th problem. Then the farmer got surprised. What is that about? Then the sage said, it is that you want to not have any problems in your life. That is what the sage mentioned. It is that you want to not have any problems in your life. So this story clearly explains us, right? It is not like finding a solution for any problem is not wrong, but at the same time, we cannot get rid of all the problems of our livelihood, right? Because life will continue having different problems. That is what different philosophers, including our Guru Vedanta Maharishi, has clearly told us. All the life will be full of ups and downs. We may have pleasure and pain, whatever we do in our life. So we have to accept the problems and to start moving with the available solution, which we can find out from our own capability, from our own experience, right? So that is what we need to change. So we need to change our attitude a bit, not solving all the problems and getting rid of the problems in our life. Instead of that, accept the problem and keep moving, keep living with the problems, and part of the journey, we have to come out of the problems one by one. And even today's science, if you compare, the science cannot provide solutions for all the problems in our life, right? Take disease for discussion. Even that could be managed in our lifetime. Once the disease has come, it can be managed by taking regular medicines. But we may not be able to stop the disease or get rid of the disease totally. which is in most of the cases, right? So that is what the today's science also denoting to us. So since we touched about science, I just thought of sharing another interesting fact about science and wisdom, which is clearly answered by our guru for a question when we have, because when we say that today science is not solving all the problems, so what science can do for us and why we call that as an improvement, right? So that question will arise within us. So that is well answered in this quote by our guru. Science makes the man happier. Wisdom can protect to ensure that the happiness does not turn into boredom. So this is what the difference between science and wisdom. And still, some more point is giving to us. Science with divine wisdom protects the benefits of life. So they have to be working together, right? Science and the wisdom, which is like ideally the divine wisdom, like spiritual wisdom, that has to be working together. Then only we can protect the benefits of life. When the science is neglecting the divine wisdom, it could eradicate the prosperity of life. So this is what the relationship between science and wisdom, which has to be understood by all of us to when we handle about wisdom. So by all this discussion and understanding, we are realizing that the wisdom is required for all of us, right? When you talk about wisdom, it is not a kind of knowledge level. It is like a supreme level of knowledge. Like wisdom, when we say it is like a spiritual wisdom or absolute truth, which has to be understood by all of us in our lifetime. So there should be a vision for us, right? So we should clearly define a path how to acquire this kind of wisdom in our life. So for that, only in our system, there is a dedicated institution made Vision for Wisdom, so which will guide us properly to reach to this wisdom which we are talking about. So the vision here is terming as Vedatri Maharishi Institute for Spiritual and Intuitional Education. As we all know, the whole system developed by our guru is giving a systematic guideline or pathway to reach to the ultimate wisdom, which is required for every human being in our life, right? So just one step before wisdom, that is also to be known to all of us, and we need to keep this as an important step, because we may have a lot of knowledge which we will be utilizing in our experience when we come across different situations in our life. So putting them together and reaching to the wisdom stage, just before that, there is one important step. Our guru also denotes this in our full path, which is termed as sublimation. So when we say like sublimation, it is a term that like removing the unwanted and strengthening the required things in our life, because we had the knowledge what is good and what is bad, right? So the next thing is experience. When we have some kind of situation, so we put that we utilize that knowledge in solving that problem, and we have seen and gained some experience what kind of benefit or what kind of result that was producing, right? So after seeing that, so we should make a clear decision making in this step, which is called as sublimation. So this is kind of a process of submission and transformation from the habits to wisdom through the resource, auto-suggestions, and diligent practice for success. So this is one important step we all need to adopt when we talk about moving towards wisdom just before reaching to that. right? So this is what our introspection practice is also. Even though after completing all the introspection, the auto suggestions, what we are making out of it by all those introspection practices, so that has to be properly addressing what is our strength. So to improve those strengths and what is our weaknesses, and we need to find a process to filter out those weaknesses. Then only we will be able to achieve to the next step, which is termed as wisdom. Okay, so vision for wisdom. So what our organizational vision institution is providing to us. So that they are working on providing a kind of education for a holistic life, right? For every human being. So to live a holistic life, and when we call it, when we call holistic life, we mean here like peaceful or blissful life, which could be uh, not having any kind of negative emotions, right? Even though the problems will come, it is not like a problem-free life, but taking the problem or accepting the problem, holistically working out on the solutions for those problems also. That kind of education will be provided by our vision. And the next one, like peace, prosperity, good health, happiness, charm, and wisdom for all. It's not like only those some part of the country or some part of the world, right? It is for every human being in this world. If they practice this, they will be getting all these terms what are all mentioned here. And the next one is the serve for the social, culture, and spiritual well-being of all human. So this is like next step in all our life, right? So once we get this kind of education first, and then the second level of like wisdom, once we realize that, so we will be able to serve the society around us and developing a culture and a spiritual well-being, which could be addressing all the human being to come out of the troubles or miseries, whatever being gone through as a society. So particularly the vision with action can change the world. That's what this quote is telling, right? So that kind of change is being brought by our organizational vision. So which is clearly seen by those who are practicing it regularly. And it all pushes to us, right, to a stage like when we complete all kind of introspection, so we will be able to realize who we are and what is the connectivity of ourselves with the totality, which is called as divine, right? So the connectivity is realized clearly so that we will be able to fulfill all the requirement of our life's goal. So here I want to share our master's poem as usual. So this poem again drives me through all this topic of discussion today. So the poem is titled as What is Wisdom? Understanding the manner in which the mind functions, you proceed to trace the source of the I thought within you. That would bring to you the philosophy of nature, which is unbounded, all silence as the substratum of the universe. So this is again practically going through how we can reach towards wisdom. So that is what the first paragraph is telling, right? So when you start understanding the manner in which the mind functions, so because we are getting some kind of trouble, pain, or some kind of pleasure when the act is done by the mind, right? So when we go through different functions, we can try to compare and why those are happening. And then we will be proceeding gradually to trace the source of I. So who am I, right? How this mind is functioning in this way, what makes it to do this, and what is driving me to do that. So when we start thinking in that direction, we will be able to realize the link of I with the divine. So that will be connecting us with the philosophy of nature, because everything has been evolved from this nature supreme, right? So when gradually, when we go to the nature's nature also, when we start analyzing, we'll be able to see that all silence as a substratum of the universe. So that is the base of the universe, which got transformed as all this, right? Then the next paragraph is giving some more insight to us. Objects and appearances are evolution of its fragment. And in living beings, it spans out as the temperamental moods. So all the objects and appearances, whatever we are seeing in this universe, are all the evolution from the very own universe. And in living beings, it spans out as the temperamental moods. Especially on the living beings, it is like different emotional expressions are getting exhibited as greed, anger, miserliness, immoral passion, complexes, and vengeance, which are but conditioned states of the self-same consciousness. Because when we talk about the absolute nature, it has got all the total consciousness. So that consciousness only getting transformed, and with some kind of contamination, it's being exhibited as a temperamental moods with different human being. The light of this inner vision informing your way of life, you would learn to preserve health of body and mind and harmony and dignity by practicing virtue. So once we get this kind of realization, right? So when we get the inner vision, instead of turning the mind towards the outward things, when we start focusing on our own self, we will be able to realize the meaning for our life and how to preserve those qualities, like in ideal way. So starting with the body and mind's health, and the harmony and dignity also will be maintained all through our life by practicing virtue. So this brings more and more of the divine quality within us. It is in this enlightenment that man becomes real man. And that alone, my friends, is wisdom genuine. So this is the way our Guru is concluding this poem, which gave a clear inner meaning of ideal wisdom, right? So what exactly it means and how to acquire that also. That is well defined in this poem. So I just thought of sharing that poem with you all. And not only staying there, he didn't finish by writing that as a poem or writing some books with some explanations. He gave a full set of practices to all of us to learn and adopt and put in our life as a practice, so that we will be able to move and acquire the ideal wisdom, what is termed in that poem clearly. So all these practices, which is learned by all of us, we all can realize that, right? So starting from physical exercises, which is taking care of the physical health, and the Kaya Kalpa Yoga, which is addressing the healthiness of our life force, and then the meditation. We all know it's a powerful practice which could maintain a healthy mind, and then the introspection, which could improve the wealth of our mind. Like the mind can be more and more prosperous by these practices. And then the sublimation, of course, as we talked earlier, that will be like a strengthening the required and filtering the unwanted. So that is an important step after doing the introspection, which we all have to go through carefully and analyzing it properly. So once we all cross through this, we will be able to achieve the required wisdom, which will be the perfection stage. So there we'll be able to realize the everlasting bliss, or the ultimate goal in every human's life. So this clear path is again defined in our simplified Kundalini Yoga practices. So that gives a clear way to reach to the wisdom. So that is what that of sharing in this speech also with all of you. And as a summary, this another message given by our Guru is also clearly clarifying further on the education, knowledge, and wisdom part, right? The purpose of education is not merely to provide the future citizen with means for earning his livelihood, but to train him physically and mentally and bring out his full potential and help him to understand the whole process of life and the purpose of life. So we are all maybe most of us, we are stopping at the first step of education, which is like knowledge level, getting some knowledge which could be enough to manage our livelihood. So most of the human being is stopping there. So that should not be enough. That's what he's meaning here. So we need to train ourselves physically and mentally and bring out the full potential of our all our human ability. Only such training will enable him to take his proper place in the society. So only by doing that, the society's harmony can be maintained all through the future generation also, right? So everyone has to be contributing back to the society with all our knowledge and skill. So that will be coming up when you go through a systematic training. That is what being given by the vision for wisdom in our organization. So having exposed to this system and getting these all practices learned, we all can definitely do more and more improvement in our life by adopting and reaching to the stage of ideal wisdom. So with that auto suggestion, by the grace of divine power, we all may enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, and peace. With that ideal wisdom can be achieved or acquired by all of us. With that auto suggestion, I will conclude the thought session of today. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And we will interact more after this. Thank you.